So Ashes of Creation's gearing system may be a little bit confusing. So in this video, I want to cover how you can triple your damage output as soon as you reach level 10. This unlocks Adept gear, and if you go for the right stuff, you can massively boost your power. As you can see here, we have over 125, and this directly translates to your damage output. And if you're a healer, that will also contribute to your healing output, as shown here. So let's cover exactly how you want to do this as soon as you hit level 10. If you've not been dying over and over, you'll probably have saved up a few gold. About 3 should be sufficient, although it's going to depend on your server. You will need to go to a node where there is an auction house, so it's going to have to be village rank or town, ideally going to the one which is the busiest. So for my server, that's Jova, and so the prices are the cheapest, and that's followed by Miralith. You can also check the tax rates. Just up here, it's 14% in Miralith, 13% in Jova. So the most efficient would be for me to go to Jova. But markets can also vary, and I would recommend checking both. But you may be confused what to actually get, and this is why I'm here to help. There is absolutely tons of gear in this game. You can simply navigate through the crafting menus, and you're looking for apprentice quality stuff. As soon as you're level 10, you can actually use it. If you're below that, this will all be X'd out, like the journeyman stuff is for me. I need to be level 20 to be able to use that. I'm in an alternate character right now to show you what you do. You absolutely do not want to be trying to level up with your initiate gear from 10 to 20. From level 1 to 10, you generally do a few quests, some commissions, and in the Riverlands, the general place to go is church right here. And you farm the 3-star mobs that spawn on the top of the church. That's at least what I did on this alt, and it was a far smoother experience than anything else I've done. And once you're level 10, maybe 11, we went over to Miralith here. There are some minotaurs you can farm just up in these regions, and then there's the oak tree here. And there's lots of 3-star mobs you can farm around here. And that will get you to about 18, nearly 20, fairly efficiently, and that's the range I'm currently at with this character. But again, you do not want to go there without first grabbing yourself some adept gear. And again, you should be able to get this for pretty cheap. So to actually find the right stuff you want to be getting, you could just go browse through all of the crafting menus and look at the stats on everything. But that is super tedious, and I highly recommend a website here, Ashes Codex, and this allows you to create a character and you can select an item and you can filter through stuff. The first thing you want to do is select the level 10 range, so you get 10 to 20 basically adept gear, and you want to sort the level here. This is item level 13 stuff. You can get higher, but this is generally limited behind some rare boss drops, which will be super expensive then, or crafting, which you will generally have to spend a lot of gold and resources to level up these crafting professions. And it's not really realistic that one person does all the professions in order to, say, grind and craft out their adept gear. Yes, it's possible if you take into consideration alt characters, but it will take you a substantial amount of time and grinding gold to actually spend to be able to level up these professions. So simply grab yourself like 3 gold, and there are quite a good few pieces which you can get to substantially boost your effectiveness for very cheap. So for the helmet here, I would highly recommend the Halo Bound Aegis Coif, giving that 132 power and the mentality. But basically all the helmets give mentality. So when we go to our auction, we can search for this specific item. We get 2 pages with all these sellers selling it. I really dislike the format of the auction house like this. It should just simply list out all the items and not the other stuff, and just not have storefronts like this. It's just such a hassle having to flick through all of them. But you can see you can get this helmet for like 12 silver here. You could probably flick through more of them and maybe even find it for lower than 10 silver. There are of course more ideal options, but again, they're going to be rare boss drops or require that high level of crafting. like this one here would be super good with over 270 power, along with magic crit power for a magic class. So you can very simply go through each of these gear pieces, again sorting them by level 10 here for the item level, and these will generally be more accessible than the ones further down on the list. And you want to look for stats that are useful to you. As a bard, I want to be going with magical power. For other classes that use physical attacks, they'll want physical power. And you will also find items, like we showed with this helmet, which simply give power. And that's going to be both to physical and magical, so that is very useful as well. You also want to keep in mind of strength and intelligence. These are very important stats, which boost your mag power for intelligence or your phys power for strength by a multiplier of 3. Along with giving you crit and accuracy. That is followed by the substats, that's wisdom, giving a little bit of mag power, 1 for each point, and dexterity, the same. So what I would highly recommend is for your gear here, your armor, is you focus on trying to get this bonus. It's force. It gives 15% strength and 15% intelligence. This is huge and will scale indefinitely. So the more you have of these attributes, the bigger the benefit you're getting from this bonus. And you get that by having 5 of the force pieces. However, the list is limited on the items that give it that are accessible. Again, you want to be getting items that people either craft for super cheap or they just get as drops. If you're looking just for that force set, look for items with the tag Scorchwander, Shell of the Sanctifier, Stormcanon, and Unfallen raiment. I'll leave them listed in the video description so you can copy and paste them directly, you don't have to type them out, but you will simply copy that name, search for the item, and there we go. We find one piece from the Scorchwander. These are the gloves. Maybe too expensive that they're not worth it. We look for Shell of the Sanctifier. We find a lot of pieces, so just search through it, and you're trying to obtain 5 pieces of this armor set. So look for anything that's cheap, and then compare what alternatives you can get. There's nothing under Stormcanon, and there's only 3 sellers of Unfallen gear. So this again will vary on your server based on what people are doing and where they're getting these drops. So I prioritized getting 5 gear pieces that have that force set, along with good stats. So my helmet here has power, the shoulder pads have the force set, the chest plate has the force set, the arms have wisdom, power, and even mag power. These are really cheap bracers usually, so grab those if you can if you're a magic user. I did get the Scorchwander and gloves, I got them pretty cheap. And again, we're getting wisdom here because we are a magical damage dealer. You'll be going for strength if you're a physical damage dealer. And then I got these rings because I'm a healer. There are no good currently adept rings that are accessible. So you will generally just go with cinder touched rings, even earrings, at the initiate level. There are not any great accessible cloaks. I just have this from a mob drop. There's a good necklace here for healers, and then there are great earrings with this power, but they can be quite expensive. The belt is for the force set, so are the pants, and then my boots just for the wisdom. I need to replace these with adept gear, but I haven't found anything that's great that's accessible. Again, we don't want to just upgrade to any random adept piece. This, for example, gives dexterity, which is useless to me as a magic user. I want wisdom or intelligence on them, and there doesn't seem to be any real accessible wisdom or intelligence boots right now. But one of the most important things is to upgrade your weapons to adept. These give massive power boosts, and you do want to look through a few of them to give stats that are actually useful to you. You will just use one of the weapons usually as your main, and for me that's a short bow. I like that high attack rate, but you will need to look for ones that have stats for you. But be very careful on the main stat that it's giving power of your damage type. So on magic, this gives mag power, and so will my other weapon. These are just stat sticks. Even if you're not using that weapon, like the axe, I don't use melee attacks, you will still gain those stats regardless if you are wielding that weapon or not. That's the same with all your gear. They're just stat sticks. You just have it here to give you these stats to boost your damage output. Again, the main one to focus on for PvE is power. And if you're a healer, healing power. And that's going to be physical if you're a physical damage dealer. And if you're a tank, you want as much constitution as possible, as that will give more max health. And some mentality will be good too for the magic defense. So again, you can use this website to build up your character and pick gear pieces using the filters. Again, if you're between level 10 and 20, make sure to select that here, level 10, and sort that with the item level, and you will generally find these top ones to be the most accessible. You can sort via the stats you're actively looking for and the weapon type. There will be ones which will favor healers, favor tanks, and others magical and physical damage dealers. Just be very careful of those stats. And yes, it can be quite a lot of work, and I can't exactly hold your hand to tell you exactly what to get, because your auction house is going to vary drastically based on where you're located, what players are around you, and what activities they're doing. I've shown you what I'm using on my character right now, and I'm a bard, which is focusing on magical power for dealing damage and healing power to support my team. My setup right now is to give damage buffs, 15% with menacing melody, and then using saga to give everybody back their mana. And then you do a bit of damage, shielding, and healing. And bard can be quite a lot of fun, but it is absolutely support orientated. Overall, I hope this video helps some of you out there to give you a bit of a direction on what to be doing to gear up in this game. Again, a lot of this gear you can get through crafting, but it's a very lengthy process, and I would generally split that across multiple players, or if you have a ton of time, your multiple characters, because you can't do all professions on the same character. So thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys around.